Autumn had been hanging out in Steve Sketch's chat, and a few times he had said, "Raise your prices," and which was interesting to me because Steve is among the most more highly paid people in the fantasy art community. So I was just curious, why do you think he needs to raise his prices? What should he raise them to? And in general, how should people be able to figure out how to price their work?
Okay, I thought about this. All we have in life,
Jesus,
is all we have in life is time. This is literally all we have is our hours of the day. How important are your hours of the day? Do you want to spend your hours of the day working overly long hours, doing work for somebody that isn't paying you what you're worth? Or do you want to be paid what you're worth and have additional time for the things that are important to you beyond your art and your growth? So, what is it going to take financially for you to only take the work that fills the hours that are your workday? How much money do you need to make that a reality? What does that mean on an hourly basis? Is that $50 an hour? Is that $100 an hour? Is that $1,000 an hour? Whatever it is.
Yes, that one.
It's 1,000. Yes, indeed. What is that going to take? Take that. Say my work day is going to be 8 hours, right? And then divide that or multiply that rate until you get to this is my day rate. If it's $50 an hour, then you're a $400 a day kind of person, right? And then look at how fast you work, right? And then look at what it takes to do a drawing and then divide that. And that is how much you want to get paid for that drawing. So that determines your day rate on a project. If you know how long it takes you and it's a really short amount of time, don't fucking tell anyone. Just charge them the money.
Yeah, if you're
seriously.
If you're fast,
I know, I agree.
That's a huge thing. Like if you can do something in 3 hours that would take someone else 5 hours, do it in 3 hours and send it on the 4th hour. And in the meantime, you've got 2 more hours to work on the next project.
And I'm gonna say it sounds skeezy, right? It makes you like, oh no, that's not right. It is right, and here's why: because you have spent, in Daniel's case, like 80 years getting as good as you are.
There you go.
So all of that practice, all of that time that you weren't getting paid, you're getting paid for that now. And that is an important thing. Recognize the amount of skill and the amount of effort and the amount of the amount of how much you had to stick with it. Stick to itiveness it took to get where you're at, and make your rate that pay you accordingly.
Yeah.
And so when I say that to Steve, I'm saying, look at your work and look at how fast you work. You're worth more money.
Yeah.
The speed. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to just emphasize the thing that you said about it not being skeezy. Like, we can just like take the skeeziness out of it and actually like celebrate the fact that being faster actually makes you more valuable. And that's okay. Yeah. It's okay to say that I do this in half the time that the next person does, and therefore you should pay me more, because if you're paying him, it's taking you X amount longer to, one, get the product, two, see how well it's going to fit into the whole rigmarole. All of the things that come after the drawing itself are just happening that much more faster. And if you're providing the same quality or better, that makes you more valuable. That's okay. It's almost an inverse proportion to the amount of time that it takes you to how much you should be charging, counterintuitively, and with some stipulation, blah, blah, blah. But
Autumn said about the daily rate being relative to your costs. And well, fortunately for some people, they either have a sweetheart deal where they're able to have very low rent because they were grandfathered into something. And that would then, or if they live in a country like Poland or somewhere in Southeast Asia where they can live on $1,000 a month.
Right.
So at that point, the advice would be to charge less because you can get away with it. But if you, how would somebody that's like living in like let's say Los Angeles or New York City, how much would they be charging relative, instead of just saying what's your situation? Because some people everybody is in different situations. But let's say a highly skilled artist, how much should they be charging? What's realistic?
Irregardless of world location, you mean? Yeah.
It really depends. There's a broad range, right? So I can charge whatever I want because I have a separate career. So if I'm going to do freelance stuff, I can pick and choose the projects I want to work on and say that, hey, let's open a dialogue. What I know that you can't match my day rates, but what's in your budget, right? So I have that luxury. You don't have that luxury. It really comes down to how close to the razor's edge do you want to walk, right? Like in LA, if you're average, most people are spending $5,000 to $7,000 a month to live between everything, right? Between your rent, your utilities, your car, your insurance, your taxes, all that stuff adds up. So you need to have that kind of padding, right? So that you have to charge a certain amount when you're in those cities. If you're a skilled artist outside of those cities, and getting that much a month, let's say bottom line $7,000 a month is above and beyond anything that you need. Charge it anyway. Put it into a retirement account because you're going to need it. As an artist, you're gonna wreck yourself. Look at professional athletes. Their timeline is like up through like college, and then a few years after college, and then their bodies are destroyed. There is no difference between top level artists and top level athletes. They are equally destroying their bodies, just in different ways. You are sitting so much that you're going to have back issues when you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, guaranteed, which means you're not going to be able to sit as long as you once did, which means that you're not going to be able to bring in as much money as you once did. So strike while the iron's hot, get that money, put it into a Roth IRA, put it into an SEP IRA, and with an SEP, you can take 25% of your entire freelance income and put it into an SEP every year. The way that you do that is hold off on paying your quarterlies and go to your tax person at the end of the year and go, how much can I put in? And don't submit these until I go home and make the transfer into this SEP IRA. And it will be exactly that amount that I transfer in, because all of that money that you've been making throughout the year has gone into a savings account that you can immediately transfer over. So it goes savings account, tax person, get the number, go home and transfer it to your SEP, and that money stays in there until you retire. And it is going to be super beneficial.
Yeah, don't buy the hype. Paying quarterly is a scam. But thank you so much for saying that. It's like, it's so fucking awesome what you just said.
Can I qualify it real quick?
Oh, yeah.
You can also do a post-tax Roth IRA, which means that it's after all your taxes, you can put in another $6,600 or something like that. But you have to talk to your tax person, because if you make above $139,900 a year, that's phased out and you can't put as much in. But that money is never taxed again. It's taxed at the rate that it's at now. And then later on, you can take it out and it's your money. It's as if it was in a savings account, but it is accruing dividends and wherever else you put that Roth investment. And you are also not required to do minimum distributions every year in retirement, which means that in retirement, if you have a Roth, you save on taxes there too, because you don't have to take any money out. It's not required by law.
The other thing that I'm really excited that you said, is when you're referring to lower standard of living, not in itself being a good excuse for charging less. And this is an objection you hear all the time. It's like, well, I live in Indonesia, $25 an hour is riches beyond, whatever. But it's like your sports analogy is perfect. It's like if you're playing football in Indonesia or you're playing football in Los Angeles, you're still getting smashed in the head every day. And if the person in LA is getting paid $50,000 a day to have that done to them, that's your peer. It has nothing to do with the place where you live. Like the government and the local economy is not that's not your peers. That's not that's not deciding your peer group. It's the other people in the industry that are. So it's not this like selfish thing that I'm saying to you if I'm like, please charge more because you're undercutting me. Yes, that's part of it. But more than that, it's like, why are you undercutting yourself? We're like the
We're
whole
worth more than that.
Yeah, and like the conversation
not just being worth more than that, though. It's also like, we're talking about art, right? Especially if we start talking about commercial illustration. I mean, if you're doing work for a video game company, I'm sorry, they're not only making their money in Indonesia, they're making their money from a worldwide audience. So what you are making should not be based on where you live, because the amount of money that they're pulling in has nothing to do with where they're based at all. It is a worldwide audience, and there is a flat rate there.
And honestly, like regardless of everything, use your skill to lift up the people around you. It's take that money and if you have it after you have paid your taxes and your healthcare and your living expenses and your everything and your food and all that, take care of the others around you. Once you put it into the retirement and you have your retirement account, you have your savings account, you have your health savings account, take what's left and go, okay, I've got $500 here that is above and beyond the budget, and help people. Give it to people, give it to family members, give it to friends.
There you go.
Like subscribe to people's streams.
Right.
Right. Twitch.tv/ARTURKEL.
Or Patreons.
Or Patreons.
Yeah.
Support your communities the way that you've been supported, right? So there's no reason that you shouldn't be charging what you're worth in the overall market, not just the myopic place of where you live.
Yeah.
So simply put, aim for a minimum of $5,000, and then above that, if you're like
you mean a month?
Level, a month.
You mean
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you're above that, then go for 7,000 a month or 10,000, whatever.
My personal opinion is a minimum of 5,000 as a entry to mid-level.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then mid-level, definitely 6 to 7. And then above that, if you've been in the industry for 10 years, $1,000 for every year you've been in it. Because I mean, especially in the United States, that you are paying your taxes. Most of the time you are paying freelance taxes, which is another 11% on top of the whatever bracket you fall into. Probably right now about somewhere in the 15 to 24%. So immediately you're looking at 31 to whatever, I don't math, percent taken out of your money. So you're looking probably somewhere around 30 something percent, right? So look at that $5,000 and say, what am I taking home? Oh, I'm taking home like 4,100, 4,200.
Not even.
I don't math. So and do that for every one of those brackets, and you'll see that you're not actually making what you think you're making.
Yeah.
Because that's all going to cut into the bottom line, and that's just the taxes. Then go, hey,
health insurance and
I need to pay my health insurance. I need to pay, I need to pay for, or I need to put money into a retirement account. You need a retirement account. I am not going to stress this any less than I already have. You need it.
That's a tough one, because as artists, we think we're never going to retire, right? Because we're going to paint and draw all our lives. But that doesn't mean that you don't still retire, but then continue to draw and paint.
Yeah.
You know,
And you're going to need that. So there's this thing called forced retirement. By all accounts, two of us in this call right now are going to be forced to retire. That's just the number. So have fun, Daniel. Have fun, Joby. Moose and I are going to keep rocking.
I had already retired myself, so it's
I'll be over here. Fuck it. And basically, what that is like you're getting twofold. You've either gotten too sick to work, or you're basically put out to pasture because you just don't fit the description anymore. You've locked yourself in. You're not malleable enough in the brain, and you haven't continued to advance your art and your style in a way that is useful to what the next iteration is going to be. So you're not getting enough work. You are forced to retire, and at that point, you have to look at your retirement funds and say, okay, this is the lifestyle that I'm living until I die. So put that together so that if you are forced to retire, you have that there and you don't take this huge hit to your lifestyle. And then you can transition and rather than saying, oh God, I was put out to pasture, what am I going to do now? You can be like, hey, all right, okay, I'm going to go do some art and I'm going to do some stuff and it's going to be great because I've got all this budget that I planned on.
Thanks for listening to this clip. You can see the full interview by clicking the link in the description, or you can click the thumbnail on the bottom left of this video. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Have a great day.